I'm James Swanwick. Welcome to the Alcohol Free Lifestyle Podcast, where you learn to live a life of health, wealth, love, and happiness.
The secret to quitting. I am James Swanwick. This is the Alcohol Free Lifestyle Podcast. Thank you for listening. I am about to give you a very simple explanation or a very simple formula for how to quit. It's not as hard as you think. It's a lot easier than you think. Just before we get into that, if you would like to get my Alcohol Freedom Formula Guide, it's a PDF book that I have written, which will outline the process for you to get long-term power over alcohol. There's a link in the show notes of this podcast. It should be on your screen if you're listening on a mobile phone right now. The link is alcoholfreelifestyle.com/guide. So, the secret to quitting. Here it is. See an alcohol-free life as the happier, more attractive option, and you'll quit. That's it. I'll say it again. See an alcohol-free life as the happier, more attractive option, and you'll quit. It's an internal mental change of wanting to live an alcohol-free life. The same goes for reducing your level of use. It's very hard to reduce your alcohol consumption when you view a reduction as less enjoyable than heavy or frequent use. So the key here is to see a reduction in usage as the happier, more satisfying, more attractive option. And once you do, it doesn't really take any special technique to moderate. It's not really this complicated thing. It's actually quite simple. It's easy because you will do what you really want to do. If you want to keep using alcohol heavily, then you will. If you want to use alcohol moderately, then you will. And if you want to quit entirely, then you will. You are truly free to change your wants and choices. It's when you see quitting or moderating as the happier, more attractive option that you can make the change. Okay? Quitting isn't difficult when you really want to quit. And if you think critically about your past attempts to quit in which it felt difficult, you may want to ask yourself whether you truly wanted to quit. Maybe you felt that you had to quit, were obligated to quit, or were cornered into quitting. Maybe those attempts felt difficult or challenging. Therefore, you didn't see a life without alcohol as the happier, more attractive option than a life with alcohol. This is another way of saying you didn't really want to quit. When you move forward on a quit attempt without really wanting it, then of course it becomes a painful struggle to resist what you really want. Is this making sense? When is the right time to quit? Well, it's when you see quitting or moderating as the happier, more attractive option. And do you? Or but do you? Lots of people don't see a life without alcohol as a happier, more attractive option. I do. I've been 11 and a half years alcohol free now. I didn't for 1 minute think I was going to go 11 and a half years. I thought I was going to go 30 days. I committed to 30 days, got to 30 days and thought, wow, this feels pretty damn good. I'll just keep going. Then I got to 2 months and thought I'll keep going. Got to 6 months, I'll keep going. After a year, I was in Austin, Texas. I was at the Luster Pearl Bar in Rainey Street in Austin, Texas. I ordered a Budweiser. It was a Bud Light, actually. Went to put it to my mouth, smelt it. Did smell pretty good. And just before I went to sip it, I put the beer down and I thought to myself, in this past year, I landed my dream job hosting a TV show, Sports Center on ESPN. I lost 20, 25 pounds. I was sleeping better. I'd attracted a higher caliber of relationship. I was more focused, had greater clarity. I'd started exercising a lot more. It just felt better. And so I put the beer down and I said to the barman, I don't want it after all, take it back. and I ordered a soda water ice and a piece of lime, drank that instead. And since then, only on very rare occasions have I been tempted to have a drink since. Why? Because I now see and experience alcohol-free as the happier, more attractive option. I now see an alcohol-free life as the happier, more attractive option than when I was drinking. And when I was drinking, I was not an alcoholic. I was a societally acceptable drinker. I would have a couple of drinks at the end of each day. I was drinking $2 Chuck at the time, which is a red wine from called Charles Shaw wine, which I bought from Trader Joe's, which is an American supermarket chain for those non-Americans. I used to buy it from the Trader Joe's in West Hollywood on, I think it was Melrose Avenue or Santa Monica Avenue. I can't remember now, but I used to buy a case of $2 Chuck. That was the nickname, because you could get 12 bottles for $24. So each bottle was $2. And I would come home after a day's work, and I would go into my Hollywood home. I would pop open a bottle of wine, and I would drink half to 2/3, sometimes 3/4 of a bottle. And I didn't really get drunk, but it felt like I was taking the edge off. And I remember watching reruns of the TV show West Wing on DVD. Actually, it wasn't a rerun, I guess you could say. I just had the entire 8-series set of West Wing on DVD, and I'd put this West Wing show in and drink half to 3/4 of a bottle of wine. And sometimes I might cook my own meal, and then other times I might order from the Thai restaurant, which was around the corner. And because I was ordering from the Thai restaurant and my guard was down because I was drinking wine, I was feeling a little bit more relaxed, I would tend to order rice, a lot of white rice. Sometimes I get hungry, I'd order 2 meals. So I would overeat because alcohol makes you want to eat more. It makes you crave carbs. So I was overeating and eating poorly. Is probably a way to explain it. So it was seemingly innocent. I was just having a couple of glasses of $2 Chuck, watching TV, eating Thai food, sometimes too much Thai food, but kind of heavy white rice kind of food with rich curries sometimes, and I was also smoking cigarettes for a time as well. I used to smoke Marlboro Light cigarettes. And of course, when you're drinking wine, you're not exercising, you're not moving. And then when you're eating poor food, you're putting in more dead calories on top of the dead calories from the alcohol. And, just over time, you just slowly put on weight, and you slowly get lethargic, and you slowly lose motivation, and you slowly stay indoors, and you start to look forward to getting home and popping the bottle of wine and watching TV and eating a big hefty meal and possibly having a dessert afterwards, and maybe having a late night cigarette if you ever smoked. And it becomes a routine. And then what happens is that you sleep poorly. You wake up feeling a little bit irritable, and you say to yourself, not tonight. I'm not going to drink tonight. I'm not going to drink tonight. I'm not going to eat that crappy Thai food tonight. I'm going to exercise tonight. And of course, tonight rolls around and it doesn't happen. And then you beat yourself up, and you don't trust yourself. You don't trust your own commitments. And so you seek comfort in the very thing that's helping you not to keep your commitments, and that being another couple of glasses of $2 Chuck, or whatever your drink is, whatever your drink of choice is. So when I finally quit out of just, I've had enough, felt kind of lethargic and tired and worn down, I thought, I'm just going to take a 30-day break and see what happens. When I got to experience what it actually felt like, that being sleeping better, losing weight, skin improving, looks improving, more energy. That's the big thing, more energy. Clarity and focus to get my dream job, like all of this evidence that presented itself in just those first 30 days of not drinking. For me, then, I was able to change my wants and choices. I was able to see alcohol-free living as the happier, more satisfying, more attractive option. So going back to what I first said here when at the beginning of this, I said the secret to quitting is seeing an alcohol-free life as the happier, more attractive option. And then you'll quit. Do you see that? Do you get a sense for that? Do you believe that alcohol-free living is a happier, more attractive option? Or do you still feel that opening a bottle of wine or having a drink with friends and laughing and joking is a more attractive option and a happier option?
Hi, this is James Swanwick, and we're taking applications for our 90-day and 365-day stop drinking programs. Clients are mostly executives, entrepreneurs, and investors who have tried unsuccessfully and repeatedly to stop drinking, but remain stuck in a frustrating cycle of stop, start, stop, start. Our programs are not AA, which has a reported 7% success rate. Our programs are not rehab, which has a reported 6% success rate. Our 90-day and 1-year programs involve a safe, fun, virtual community of high achievers with a process that boasts a scientifically proven 98% success rate of clients reaching at least 90 consecutive days alcohol-free. That's according to the University of Washington. We use the latest neuroscience and personal development processes to help rewire clients' brains around alcohol and minimize its importance in their lives. We will show you how to powerfully socialize with friends, family, and colleagues, what to say and how to say it so people don't mistakenly think you're an alcoholic or have a problem, and how to eliminate the temptation of returning to constant drinking so you break the stop-start cycle. To ensure client success, Project 90 can only accept 24 new clients each month. Some of those happy clients include John Keltner from California, who said, "I've lost 10 pounds." Susie Vaughan, a real estate broker in Tennessee, who said, "I've generated 20% more leads." Jessica Gaines from Kentucky, who says, "I've now got joy, focus, presence, and clarity." And Joe Worley from Michigan, who says, "My wife has the real Joe back." If you're an executive, entrepreneur, investor, real estate professional, attorney, doctor, and you're sick of the stop-start cycle and the damaging effects alcohol has on your health, happiness, and family, and you're ready to regain confidence, become more present with your spouse and children, reduce stress, anxiety, and irritability, sleep better, increase focus and productivity, and feel better quickly, you're invited to apply to become one of our 24 monthly Project 90 clients. Applicants can apply for an introductory interview by visiting alcoholfreelifestyle.com/project90. There's also a link in this episode's show notes. That's alcoholfreelifestyle.com/project90. Application interviews are limited and are conducted on a first-come, first-served basis. Okay, let's get back to the show.
You see, here's the thing. You can laugh and joke and have fun with your friends and your colleagues, and you can relax and you can celebrate and you can dance and you can do all these kind of things without the alcohol. You can. It's just you're associating the alcohol as the reason for the fun. But that's not the case. I know it's not the case because I've been doing it for 11 and a half years, where I've been having fun and dancing and enjoying and going to pubs and bars and watching football games and catching up with friends and celebrating without touching a drop of attractively packaged poison. So, it's very hard for you to reduce your alcohol use when you view reducing as less enjoyable than heavy or frequent use. But if you learn how to attend a wedding and have the most fun without drinking, if you can learn how to go to a bar and watch a game and have fun without drinking, if you can learn how to host a party and enjoy yourself without drinking, then, to borrow a line from the very famous poet Rudyard Kipling in his famous poem, "If," yours is the earth and everything that's in it. You know what I'm referring to? There's a very famous poem called "If" by Rudyard Kipling. It's all about being a man. It's a father speaking to his son, and the final two lines are, "And yours is the earth and everything that's in it, and which is more, you'll be a man, my son." You should Google it, check it out. It's really inspirational. My father actually gave me a framed version of it, which his father, my late grandfather, gave to him, and I carried it with me all around the world. and put it in the bathroom of every place that I stayed and lived across the world for a time. Anyway, I regress, or is it digress? I can never figure out whether it's digress or regress. Anyway, so I just interviewed on the podcast a Project 90 client, a graduating Project 90 client called Ian McSweeney. And I would encourage you, if you haven't listened to it yet, go back and have a listen. And he lost 28 pounds in 90 days of quitting drinking. But the most important thing, I mean, that's remarkable, but the most important thing about my interview with him, which I encourage you to listen to, is that he's happier. He's smiling. His friends and family are like, wow, Ian, you are flying right now. He just looks different. He's smiling all the time. So for Ian, now he sees alcohol-free life as the happier, more attractive option than when he was drinking. He's figured out that a life without alcohol is actually the happier, more attractive option. He's now experiencing life as a beautiful thing. If you want to use alcohol moderately, you will. And if you want to quit, you will. Like I said, you're truly free to change your wants and choices. It's when you see quitting or moderating as the happier, more attractive option that then you will get the result. There's a couple links in the show notes here where you can get the Alcohol Freedom Formula Guide, walk you through the process. There's another formula really that seems to work as well to help people to be accountable on this. And that is accountability plus community plus coaching plus fun plus having skin in the game. Little formula I designed. And what I found is that the people who get the most, or the best results, I should say, are those that put those 5 pillars together: accountability, coaching, community, fun, skin in the game. And you notice I use the word fun there. Here's why AA doesn't work. Let me rephrase that. Here's why AA has less than a 10% success rate. Now, I encourage you to do your own research on this. Just Google AA actual success rate. You can Google treatment centers actual success rates. It's frighteningly low, less than 10%. Here's why they're less than 10% and not 85% plus like my coaching and my trainings and my programs. Because they're dark and depressing and sad. They're not fun. And it keeps you stuck in this feeling of there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not broken. You're naturally perfect. You've just got something in the way of you expressing that perfection at the moment. AA and treatment centers are dark and depressing, filled in shame, embarrassment, and it feels like it's really tough work, really hard work, really unpleasant work to get power over alcohol. So in this version, an alcohol-free life does not seem like a happier, more attractive option, does it? It seems like a painful option where you're depriving yourself of something fun. You're in deprivation. You really want to drink, but you can't because you've got a drinking problem. Nonsense. Versus this other way of doing things, which is the way that I've been a proponent of, and which is the way I've been coaching and training and developing programs on since 2015, which is fun and aspirational and seeing an alcohol-free life as the happier, more attractive option where you're smiling and you're happy to politely decline the offer of alcohol, where you're happy being alcohol-free, where you prefer being alcohol-free at the wedding or in the bar or at home at night when you come home after a long day's work. That's the preferred option. That's the better option. That's the more enjoyable option, where you feel like you're not, or where you don't feel like you're missing out on something. You're missing out on a gorgeous sunset because you're not having a glass of wine with it. Ugh, ridiculous. Where you feel like you can't create romance with your husband or wife or partner because there's no alcohol present. Where you feel like you're depriving yourself of fun if you attend a party and others are drinking, but you're not. Ridiculous. I know it's ridiculous. I hosted a party in Bali, Indonesia recently. I had 25 guests and 3 people were drinking. The other 22 weren't. And everyone had an amazing time. Everyone had fun. I mean, it was a 3-hour party. What was it? It was 3 until 7, 4-hour party, I should say. Stand corrected. Excuse me, with this beautiful Bali sunset. I don't know if you've ever been to Bali, but the sunsets are gorgeous. People were standing around the pool, watching the sun go down, talking, conversing, laughing, joking. Music was playing in the background, and 3 people were drinking. The others were not. Did any of the other people feel deprived because there was no alcohol present? No, everyone had a fabulous time. And I'll tell you why it was easy, why I suspect, I should say, it was easy for people not to drink alcohol at that particular function is because their community were mostly alcohol-free because no one was pressuring other people to drink. The default was not, you have to have drinks to have a party. No. Health conscious, fun, energetic people, community, fun. So I want to invite you to really think about your life and think about what is the happier, more attractive option for you. Is it living an alcohol-free life or is it an alcohol-fueled life? And there seems to be dozens and dozens of case studies here on this particular podcast. If you just scroll back or you scroll forward, depending on when you're listening to this particular episode, there seem to be dozens and dozens of case studies or evidence or proof that an alcohol-free life is just plain better for people. Doesn't mean that it feels challenging right now as you're listening to me. The notion that you might live an alcohol-free life, maybe that feels challenging because you've grown accustomed to an alcohol life or a life with alcohol. But that's why there are ways to overcome that. That's why there are done-for-you scripts on what to say to people when they're encouraging you to drink. That's why there's little mind reframes that you can learn so you can position alcohol in the corner where you can change your relationship to alcohol instead of looking at it as this beautiful thing that empowers you and gives you confidence and relaxes you and provides you with a social lubricant. Instead of looking at it like that with all the ramifications that come with that, you now look at it in a completely different light. You now look at it for what it is, attractively packaged poison, which is compromising your experience of life, which is depriving you of happiness and depriving you of your best self and depriving others of your best self as well. One of the common themes that you'll hear when I interview a lot of our graduating Project 90 clients here on the show is how the people in their life benefit from them being alcohol-free. It's not just about the client going, I'm alcohol-free and I'm happier and everything's great. Well, because the client is happier and everything's great, now their kids have a better dad or a better mum. Their wife or husband now has a better partner. Their clients or colleagues now have a better advisor or colleague. To use Ian McSweeney's, the Ian McSweeney example again, he increased his productivity by 25% and reduced his work hours by 33% in 90 days. So not only does he benefit from that, but his clients, he's an accountant, he's a chartered accountant, his clients now get a better Ian, get better services, more effective services. And Ian's 5-year-old and 6-year-old children and his wife get a better Ian, get a more present Ian. They get a better dad and they get a better husband. So all of these people start to benefit from you choosing this alcohol-free life. And if you've tried to do it yourself before many times and you haven't yet succeeded long-term, maybe you've succeeded short-term, maybe you've done 30 days or 7 days or whatever, but you keep going back to the beginning again and you just can't seem to get this long-term power over it. Well, the good news is that there's support. As long as it's fun, as long as it feels fun, as long as it's aspirational, In my personal opinion, AA and treatment centers and all that kind of stuff, they're doing people a gross disservice. For the less than 10% of people that it's worked for, fantastic. I applaud the mission and the desire to want to help people get long-term power over their addictions. I support that 100%. I just don't feel it's effective. In fact, it's mostly ineffective. It's ineffective for most people. But fun, happy, getting long-term power over your drinking in a fun, supportive community, feeling like it's aspirational, that's when the transformation happens. And transformation does not happen in isolation. Transformation does not happen in isolation. So you can listen to this and go, that's great, awesome. Now I'm really motivated. I'm going to go do it by myself. And that would be an ineffective method, statistically speaking, because I've seen it hundreds of times. It's almost like people convince themselves that in order to pay for coaching or to get coaching or to join a community, it's almost like an admission of their own weakness. Oh, I should be able to do this on my own. I should be. I don't have to join a group. I shouldn't have to pay for coaching. I shouldn't have to do this, because if I do that, then I'm really broken. Then I'm admitting that there's something wrong with me. I say, join the group, get coaching, have it be fun, get in a like-minded community, whatever that is, whether you're doing it inside of Project 90, my program, or you're doing it inside of another program somewhere else. Get inside and get amongst a group of people who are also getting long-term power over their drinking in a fun and aspirational way. Do not go to AA or treatment centers would be my advice. I can't really stay here. I shouldn't really, noticing my language there, I shouldn't. Let me remove that. Let me rephrase this. Statistically speaking, you will have a greater chance of failing at your goals if you go to AA or treatment centers. And statistically speaking, you will have a much better chance of succeeding if whatever you do feels fun and you've identified that an alcohol-free life is going to provide you with more happiness. So I'll leave you with that. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Hope that it rewired your brain a little bit. Feel free to leave a review in the review section. Like I said at the beginning of the show, there's a link in the show notes to get my Alcohol Freedom Formula Guide. It's at alcoholfreelifestyle.com is the website /guide, but you can just click on it in the show notes. And if you would like to join us inside of our Project 90 community, which is fun and aspirational, and there's coaching and accountability, and it's for folks who are over the age of 35, mostly in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s, we'll help you and support you in that endeavor. Thanks for listening, and I will catch you on the next one.
Thank you so much for listening. For more content like this, you can check out our YouTube channel at alcoholfreelifestyle.com/YouTube. You can follow me and send me a direct message on Instagram and TikTok at James Swanwick. And you can see the results of our scientific study at alcoholfreelifestyle.com/study. If you'd like to apply to become a Stop Drinking client, you can visit alcoholfreelifestyle.com/project90. I wrote a book called The 30-Day No Alcohol Challenge, which you can find on Amazon. And you can always email me directly at james@alcoholfreelifestyle.com. If you're a regular listener of the show, would you please do me a big favor and give the show a rating and a review? It helps us get more listeners, and you'll be potentially helping someone else out there who's struggling with alcohol to find us, to listen to us and get support. Thanks so much for listening. We'll catch you on the next one.